Hey, Calvary family. I wanted to make a video this weekend for a couple of reasons. The first thing I want to do today is I want to say thank you. Calvary is an amazing place, and it's filled with amazing people. And I'm so thankful to be your pastor, to have been called here, even in the last year, which has been very, very difficult. It has just been a delight to see Jesus in you. As we continue to meet together, as we endure a hardship together, it has been a blessing. And I want to say thank you especially because as we all follow Jesus together, church leadership has had to make decisions about the pandemic and about COVID restrictions at church. And I imagine that it is true that everyone at one point or another would have chosen differently or wished that church leadership would have chosen differently. And one of the things that's incredible about that is that for the most part, the churches continue to meet together anyway. That even when things are not the way you would like them to be, you've continued to come. Whether that's putting on a mask when you would like to not have to put on a mask, whether that's coming to an in-person service when you weren't sure that we should start meeting right away. As you have come together and remained part of the fellowship, we're just so thankful for that. It is a very Christ-like thing to trust leadership and to follow, even when they make a decision differently than you would. It's easy to follow when the leaders make all the decisions you want them to. It's easy to be part of a fellowship when everybody agrees. It's hard to do that when they don't. And that is Jesus, to remain family, even when it's hard. So thank you. What I want to do today is I want to talk to you about the survey that we had recently and some of the results of it and a few changes we're going to be making going forward. Now, I imagine that some of these changes will be too soon for some of you. You'll feel like we are making too many changes too quickly and you're just a little uncomfortable. That's okay. I'd love to hear from you about that, but I just want to acknowledge that there's no way for us to do this without making some of us uncomfortable. On the other hand, I imagine there are many of you who are going to feel like these are changes we should have made a long time ago. And again, I want to thank you for sticking with us. And I want to assure you that we are moving toward a day when we will not have to think about COVID on Sunday morning. That will be a blessing. I don't know when that will happen. I don't have a date to give you, but we are moving in that direction. As we know more about the virus, as more of us get protected, we're making good, I think, wise, common sense steps forward toward being able to go as much back to normal as we can. So let me show you a little bit about the survey results and tell you about a few changes that are going to be coming up starting this weekend. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk to you about something we're not changing. What you see in front of you is the mask question and the survey results from it. And at the top, you see a bar graph, just kind of showing the results. But at the bottom, you have the spelled out choices and the percentage responses. Now, if you do the math in your head, you'll notice that things don't quite add up for the number of responses that we got and for the percentages. And that's okay. That's because some people chose more than one option, either because more than one applied or because they were filling out the survey as a couple and they had two different opinions. But the important number here is the second line from the bottom. I'm comfortable with ending the mask practice now and require no further conditions. It is only 27%. Only 13 people that filled out the survey checked that. And so what that tells us is that the majority of our church is not comfortable with ending our practice of wearing masks now. Now, I'll tell you personally that I think one of the strange things about this has been to realize that all of us are similar in that we tend to assume everyone else sees things the same way we do. And I don't mind telling you, I was one of the people that marked that I was ready for masks to be done this Sunday. I was surprised that the majority of the answers did not agree. I think that's okay. One of the things I did is I spoke to a few people that I know disagreed with me, and I have actually become convinced that continuing the mask practice for now is the better idea. That's also what the church council voted to do, so that's what we're doing. But I do want to just go ahead and acknowledge that for some of you, I imagine it's a surprise to see that more people aren't ready to get rid of masks. I think that's because we tend to assume everyone thinks the same way we do. And right now, it just seems like the majority of Calvary is more comfortable continuing with our mask practice. And the church council thinks that that is the wisest course, so that's what we voted to do. Now, it's important that you know, one thing that I'm committed to, and that I think that our whole church leadership is committed to, is that this is not a permanent thing. We are looking forward to the day when we can come to church without these things on our faces. I miss your smiles. I miss the closeness that you feel with a person when you look them in the eye and you see their whole face rather than the half of it that you can see without the mask. I miss the comfort of breathing without a mask in church. But I think that the wisest practice is for us to move forward with masks, and that is what the church leadership has voted to do. So at this time, we are going to continue our practice of wearing masks. But now let me show you the things that we are changing. This picture represents the question on the survey about potlucks or about church meals. And what you can see here is that many of us, most of us, are comfortable with having a church meal. There's different conditions that are present. Some people feel like people should be able to bring their own food. People want the volunteers to be masked or gloved. Some people want the meal to be outside. But the overall thrust of this is that Calvary is ready to eat together again. And that is something Calvary does very well. And it's something I've missed in the last year, is eating together. And so I'm glad that the church council, as we spoke about this and voted, we decided to move forward with having church meals again. Now, we don't know exactly what these are going to look like, but we are going to start having them soon. Whether we're going to do a breakfast potluck or an after-church potluck first, I'm not sure, but it will be coming soon. We will give you more details about that. And then moving forward, we will be making it a point to eat together regularly, a fellowship time on Sunday morning, just regular practices of being together and eating together. Some of them will be outside as we're able to. Undoubtedly, some of them will be inside. But this is a change we're making, and you're going to see that change happen very soon. Now, this last one is one that I'm personally very excited about. What you see in front of you are the results of the survey about the no contact rule during our greeting times. Now, what you'll see here from the responses at the bottom is that over 40% of people are comfortable with relaxing the no contact rule now. Another quarter or so are comfortable with relaxing it once we are outside for church, but that around a third are not comfortable yet. And so since this is different than masks, since if you are unmasked, you're breathing in the same space everybody else is in, a hug or a handshake only affects the people that are having the hug and the handshake. And so what we've decided to do is to move forward with relaxing our no contact rule and allowing people to hug and handshake. But there's something that's very important with this, is that those who are not comfortable should not be put in a position where they have to endure it anyway, or where they have to tell repeatedly over and over again on a Sunday morning, no, I'm not comfortable, no, I'm not comfortable. So there are going to be some people who continue to stay in their seats during greeting time, and those people will continue to be left alone. There will be some people, though, who are comfortable with moving around during greeting time, but don't want to be hugged or shake hands. And then there will be people who are comfortable with contact. And so what we've decided to do is to make a way so that if you are comfortable with someone coming up and shaking your hand or giving you a hug, we're going to have stickers at the entrances to the sanctuary when we're inside, and we'll have them out by where we're meeting when we're outside. The sticker will just be a small thing that you can put on one shoulder or the other. And if a person is wearing a sticker, that means that they are comfortable with you approaching them, hugging them, shaking their hands, etc. Now, you may feel like I feel that this is a little silly. It's a silly thing to have to put a sticker on to say you're okay with a handshake. Well, there's two reasons that I think it's important for us to do it this way. One, it's not right for a person to have to tell someone else no over and over again. To have to identify themselves that way is not being comfortable. I think that would make it very hard for some of our people on Sunday morning. Also, we cannot think of a better way for people to identify themselves as being okay with contact. And so if you have an idea, I want you to know, Pastor Ben and I, we've put our heads together about this. This is the best we can come up with. But if you have a better idea than stickers, let me know. I would love to know. But in the meantime, there will be stickers available that you can put on your shoulder when you come into the sanctuary or when you set up your chair for outdoor service that say, I'm ready for you to come and give me a hug. That will be, I think, a wonderful part of Sunday mornings to come back. Again, this isn't permanent. You're not going to have to do this forever. This is a short-term thing. But given how many of us are ready for contact, I definitely think that it's worth it. Now, the church council meeting where we talked about these things and voted on these things went long. So there were a few odds and ends we didn't get to. Things like the water fountains. Things like our policy of shutting down for 2 weeks if someone tests positive. Things like our ushers or our offering plates. We're going to be talking about those very soon. And if we decide to change those and return them to normal, that will be happening quickly. But in the meantime, we wanted to get this out there so that you knew that tomorrow when you come to church, there will be some differences. While masks will still be present, hugs will also be. And soon, very soon, we'll be sharing a meal together. I'm very excited about that, and I hope to see you tomorrow. If you have any questions about this or any comments, I'm open to hearing about them. I know that this has been a stressful and emotional time, and I know some of you are just very weary. I want to encourage you to stay the course and look forward to the day when we can meet together again, maskless, not mention COVID or see a COVID restriction in our worship service. That will be a good day, and I look forward to seeing it with you. In the meantime, see you tomorrow.